Welcome to my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English learning lessons. Now let me ask you something very honest. Why do you start learning English with excitement, but after a few days, you stop? Why do you watch videos, learn words, try to speak, but still feel no real progress? Is English really difficult? Or is something missing in your routine? Today, you are going to discover the real truth. Not just about learning English, but about why most people fail. You will understand why irregular practice keeps you stuck. You will learn how small daily habits can completely change your progress. You will see how listening, speaking, and simple practice can build your confidence step by step. And most importantly, you will get a clear system that you can follow every single day without confusion. But stay with me till the end, because by the end of this lesson, you will not only understand your mistakes, you will also have a simple plan to fix them. And that one plan can change your English journey forever. Chapter 1. Now let us begin with something very real, something very important. Daily English practice. Let me ask you a simple question. Do you practice English every day, or do you practice only when you feel motivated? Think about it honestly, because your answer to this question decides your progress. Many learners say, I want to learn English. They watch videos, they take notes, they feel excited, but after 1 or 2 days, they stop. Then after some days, they start again. Then they stop again. This cycle continues. Start, stop, start, stop. And because of this, they do not improve. Now listen carefully to this. Learning English is not about how much you study in one day. It is about how regularly you study. 1 hour every day is better than 5 hours once a week. Small daily practice is more powerful than big effort sometimes. Let me explain this in a very simple way. Imagine you want to build a habit. Any habit. It can be exercise. It can be reading. It can be learning English. If you do it every day, even for a short time, it becomes part of your life. But if you do it only sometimes, your brain never accepts it as a habit. This is the problem many learners face. They depend on motivation. But motivation is not stable. Some days you feel excited. Some days you feel tired. Some days you feel lazy. This is normal. But if your learning depends on your mood, you will not grow. So what is the solution? The solution is simple. Discipline. Discipline means you do your practice even when you do not feel like it. Not for hours, just for a few minutes, but every day. Now let us understand something deeper. When you practice English daily, your brain stays connected to the language. You remember words better. You understand sounds better. You feel more comfortable. But when you take long breaks, your brain forgets. You lose connection. You feel like you are starting again. This is why many learners say, I learned this before, but I forgot. This happens because of irregular practice. Now let me give you a simple rule. Do not break the chain. If you practice today, then practice tomorrow. Even if it is only 10 minutes. Even if you are busy. Even if you are tired. Just do something small. This keeps your learning alive. Now you may ask, what should I do daily? Very simple. You can listen to English. You can watch a short video. You can read a small paragraph. You can speak a few sentences. You can repeat what you hear. You do not need to do everything. Just choose one or two things and do them daily. Consistency is more important than variety. Now let us talk about time. Many learners think they need a lot of time to improve. This is not true. You do not need hours. You need consistency. Even 10 to 15 minutes daily can create big change. Let me give you an example. If you practice 15 minutes every day, in 1 week, you practice more than 1 hour. In 1 month, many hours. And the best part is, your brain stays connected every day. This is powerful. Now here is something very important. Do not wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. If you wait for the perfect moment, you will wait forever. Start with what you have. Start where you are. You can practice while walking. You can listen while traveling. You can speak while sitting alone. English can become part of your daily life. Now let me tell you a truth. Learning English is not difficult, but staying consistent is difficult. And that is why many people fail. Not because they are weak, but because they are not consistent. But you can be different. You can choose discipline over mood. You can choose daily practice over random effort. You can choose progress over excuses. Now imagine this. Imagine you practice every day for the next 30 days, even for a short time. How will you feel? You will feel more confident. You will understand more. You will speak better. You will feel proud. And it all starts with one decision: to practice daily. Now listen carefully to this line. This line can change your mindset. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Say it again in your mind. Not perfect, just consistent. This is the key. And now, as we move forward, things will become even more interesting. In the next chapter, we will talk about what happens when you do not practice daily. We will go deeper into common mistakes and struggles. You will see clearly why many learners stay stuck. So stay with me, because the next chapter will open your eyes, and it will help you avoid the mistakes that stop your progress. Chapter 2. Now let us talk about something very real, something many learners feel but do not always understand. Why do people fail to improve even when they try? Why do they study, watch videos, learn words, but still feel stuck? The answer is simple. They are not practicing daily. And because of that, they face the same problems again and again. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever learned a new word, felt happy, and then forgotten it after a few days? Have you ever understood a lesson but later felt like you remember nothing? If yes, then you are not alone. This happens to most learners. But this is not because your memory is weak. This is because your practice is not consistent. Now understand this clearly. When you learn something new, your brain needs repetition. It needs regular contact. If you do not repeat it, your brain slowly forgets it. This is natural. This is how the brain works. It keeps what you use. It removes what you ignore. So when you study English one day and then stop for many days, your brain starts forgetting. And when you come back, you feel like you are starting again. This creates frustration. You feel like you are working hard but not moving forward. This is one of the biggest problems in learning English. Irregular practice. Now let us go deeper. When you do not practice daily, you lose connection with the language. English starts to feel strange again. Words feel unfamiliar. Sentences feel difficult. Listening becomes harder. Speaking becomes uncomfortable. But when you practice daily, even for a short time, the opposite happens. English starts to feel normal. Words feel familiar. You understand more easily. You speak with less effort. This is the power of daily connection. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you are learning to drive a car. If you practice every day, you become comfortable. You understand control. You feel confident. But if you drive once a week, every time feels like a new start. You feel nervous. You forget small things. English is the same. Now let us talk about another common problem. Many learners depend too much on motivation. They say, "I will study when I feel motivated." But here is the truth. Motivation is not stable. It comes and goes. Some days you feel excited. Some days you feel tired. If you wait for motivation, you will not practice regularly. This is why discipline is more important. Discipline means you practice even when you do not feel like it. Not for long hours. Just for a few minutes. But you do it every day. This creates a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes easy. Now let us talk about frustration. When learners do not see progress, they feel frustrated. They compare themselves with others. They say, "Why is my English still weak?" This frustration can become dangerous. It can stop you from learning. It can make you quit. But here is something you must understand. Progress is not always visible immediately. Sometimes you are improving, but you do not notice it. Your brain is learning quietly, slowly, step by step. But if you stop practicing, this process breaks. So the solution is simple. Keep going. Now let me tell you something very important. Mistakes are part of learning. When you do not practice daily, you also do not give yourself enough chances to make mistakes. And without mistakes, there is no improvement. Daily practice gives you more chances to try, more chances to learn, more chances to grow. Now think about this. If you practice only once a week, you make very few mistakes. But if you practice every day, you make more mistakes. And that is good. Because each mistake teaches you something. Now let us talk about confidence. When you do not practice regularly, your confidence becomes weak. You feel unsure. You hesitate. You avoid speaking. But when you practice daily, your confidence grows slowly. You feel more comfortable. You feel more ready. Confidence does not come suddenly. It grows with daily action. Now let me share a simple truth that many people ignore. Learning English is not difficult, but staying consistent is difficult. And that is why many people fail. But you can be different. You can choose to practice every day, even when you are busy, even when you are tired, even when you do not feel like it. Just do something small. Now imagine this. Imagine you stop practicing for 1 week. What will happen? You will forget some words. You will feel less confident. You will struggle again. Now imagine you practice every day for 1 week. What will happen? You will feel stronger. You will remember more. You will feel confident. The difference is clear. Daily practice changes everything. Now listen carefully to this line. If you want results, you must stay consistent. Say it again in your mind. Consistency creates results. Not talent, not luck, not motivation. Consistency. Now we are coming to a very important point. You understand the problem now. You understand why irregular practice slows you down. But the question is, how do you fix it? How do you build a daily habit? In the next chapter, you will discover a simple but powerful idea. An idea that can change your routine. An idea that can help you stay consistent without stress. So stay with me, because the next chapter will give you a clear direction, and it might be the turning point in your English learning journey. Chapter 3. Now this is the turning point. This is where everything starts to become simple. Not easy, but simple. You already know the problem. You already know why irregular practice slows you down. Now the question is very clear. How do you build daily English practice without stress? How do you stay consistent when motivation is not there? The answer is simple. Start small. Yes, start very small. Many learners fail because they try to do too much. They say, "From today, I will study 2 hours every day." They feel excited. They start strong. But after 1 or 2 days, they feel tired. They feel bored. And then they stop. This is a mistake. Big plans look good, but small habits work better. Let me explain this in a very simple way. Imagine you want to start running. If you try to run 5 kilometers on the first day, your body will feel tired. You may even stop completely. But if you start with a short walk, then slowly increase your effort, your body becomes stronger. English learning works the same way. If you start with small daily practice, your brain accepts it. It becomes easy. It becomes natural. Now let me give you a simple idea. Do not say, "I will study English for 1 hour." Instead say, "I will practice English for 10 minutes." 10 minutes feels easy. 10 minutes feels possible. And because it feels easy, you will do it. And when you do it every day, it becomes a habit. This is the secret. Now listen carefully to this. Your goal is not to do more. Your goal is to do daily. Even 5 minutes is better than nothing. Even 10 minutes every day is powerful because consistency builds strength. Now let us talk about how to use those 10 minutes. You do not need a complicated plan. Keep it simple. You can listen to English. You can watch a short video. You can repeat sentences. You can read a small paragraph. You can speak to yourself. Choose one or two activities. Do not try to do everything. Simplicity is important. Now here is something very powerful. Fix a time. Yes, fix a specific time for your practice. For example, you can practice in the morning, or before sleeping, or during your break. When you fix a time, your brain gets used to it. It becomes part of your routine. Without a fixed time, practice becomes random, and random practice leads to no progress. Now let us talk about another important idea. Remove pressure. Many learners feel pressure. They say, I must understand everything. I must speak perfectly. I must not make mistakes. This pressure makes learning difficult. It creates stress. But here is the truth. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. When you remove pressure, learning becomes easier. You enjoy the process. And when you enjoy, you continue. Now let me give you a simple method. Very simple. Listen and repeat. Choose a short audio. Listen to one sentence. Pause. Repeat it. Try to copy the speaker. Do not worry about mistakes. Just try. This method improves your listening and speaking at the same time. Another simple method. Watch short videos. Do not watch long videos at the start. Choose something short, 1 or 2 minutes. Watch it daily. Watch it again and again. Each time, you will understand more. This repetition is very powerful. Now here is something very important. Track your progress. You can mark a calendar. Every day you practice, mark it. This creates a chain, and your goal is simple. Do not break the chain. When you see your progress, you feel motivated. You feel proud. And this helps you continue. Now let us talk about mindset. Some days will be easy. Some days will be difficult. Some days you will feel motivated. Some days you will not. This is normal. But on difficult days, do not stop. Reduce your effort, but do not stop. If you cannot practice for 10 minutes, practice for 5 minutes. But do something, because stopping breaks the habit. Now imagine this. Imagine you follow this simple plan for 30 days. Small daily practice. Fixed time. No pressure. What will happen? You will feel different. English will feel easier. You will understand more. You will speak more confidently. And the best part is, you will feel proud of yourself because you stayed consistent. Now listen carefully to this line. Success in English is not about doing something big. It is about doing something small every day. Say it again in your mind. Small daily action creates big results. Now we are moving to something even more interesting. In the next chapter, you will see what happens when you follow this habit for some time. You will see real improvement, real change, Step by step, you will start to notice results, and those results will motivate you even more. So stay with me, because the next chapter will show you the power of consistency in action. Chapter 4. Now this is the chapter where things start to feel real. Not just ideas, not just advice. Real change, real results. You have learned about daily practice. You have learned about starting small. Now let us see what actually happens when you follow this simple habit for some time. Let me ask you something. What do you expect when you practice English daily for a few days? Do you expect big results immediately? Do you expect to speak fluently in 1 week? If yes, then you need to change your expectation. Because real progress is slow, but it is powerful. In the beginning, you may not see big changes. You may feel like nothing is happening. You listen, but you understand only a little. You repeat, but your speaking is not smooth. This stage is normal. Very normal. This is the testing stage. This is where most learners stop. They say, I am practicing, but I do not see results. And then they quit. But listen carefully. This is the most important stage. If you continue here, everything will change. Let me explain this in a simple way. Imagine you are planting a seed. You water it every day. You take care of it. But for some time, you do not see anything. No plant, no leaves, nothing. Does that mean nothing is happening? No. Something is happening under the soil. Roots are growing. Your English is the same. When you practice daily, your brain is building roots. You may not see it immediately, but it is happening. Now let us move forward. After some days, something small begins to change. Very small. You start recognizing words when you listen. Words that you heard before. Words that felt strange earlier. Now they feel familiar. This is your first sign of progress. Then something else happens. When you watch a short video again, you understand more than before. The same video feels easier. This gives you a small feeling of success. This is your second sign of progress. Now your confidence starts to grow slowly. Not a big jump, just a small increase. But this small increase is important. Now let us talk about speaking. At first, when you try to speak, your sentences are slow. You stop again and again. You think too much. This is normal. But after regular listening and repeating, something changes. Some sentences come automatically. You do not think too much. You just say them. This is your third sign of progress. Now let us go deeper. When you practice daily, your brain starts to connect everything. Listening, speaking, understanding. These skills start working together. Before, they were separate. Now they are connected. This is when learning becomes natural. Now here is something very important. Do not compare your progress with others. Some people learn fast. Some people learn slow. That is okay. What matters is your consistency. If you are improving little by little, you are moving forward. Now let us talk about a common mistake. Many learners stop when they see small results. They say, "Now I am better, I can take a break." And then they lose their habit. They lose their progress. Do not do this. When you see progress, increase your consistency. Not your pressure, your consistency. Keep your habits strong. Now let me give you a simple truth. Progress is not always exciting. Some days feel normal, some days feel boring. But even on those days, something is happening inside your brain. So do not depend on excitement. Depend on your routine. Now imagine this. You practice daily for 1 month. Just 10 to 15 minutes. What will happen? You will understand more English than before. You will recognize more words. You will feel less fear. You will speak simple sentences more easily. And most importantly, you will feel confident. Not perfect, but confident. And confidence is the beginning of fluency. Now let me tell you something very powerful. When you see small results, your motivation increases. When your motivation increases, your effort becomes easier. And when your effort becomes easier, you stay consistent. This creates a positive cycle. Daily practice leads to small results. Small results create motivation. Motivation helps you continue. And this cycle keeps growing. Now listen carefully to this line. You do not need big results to continue. You just need small proof that you are improving. And daily practice gives you that proof. Now we are moving to something even more powerful. In the next chapter, you will see the transformation. You will see what happens when you continue this habit for a longer time. You will see how confidence becomes strong, how speaking becomes natural, how English becomes part of your life. This is where everything changes. So stay with me, because the next chapter will show you the real power of daily English practice. Chapter 5. Now this is the moment many learners dream about. This is the stage where things start to feel natural. Not perfect, but natural. You have already built the habit of daily practice. You stayed consistent. You passed the difficult stage where nothing seemed to change. You saw small progress. And now, something bigger begins to happen. Transformation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever imagined yourself speaking English without fear? Have you ever imagined understanding conversations without feeling lost? That moment may have felt far away before. But now, it is getting closer. When you continue daily practice for a longer time, your brain becomes comfortable with English. The language is no longer new. It is no longer strange. It starts to feel familiar. And when something feels familiar, you do not feel afraid. This is where confidence grows. Not fake confidence. Not temporary confidence. Real confidence. Now let us understand what changes at this stage. First, your listening becomes stronger. When you hear English, you do not panic. You stay calm. You can follow the conversation. You may not understand every word, but you understand the idea. And that is enough. Second, your speaking becomes smoother. Before, you stopped again and again. You searched for words. You felt pressure. But now some sentences come naturally. You speak simple English, but with more flow. You make mistakes, but you continue speaking. This is a big change. Third, your vocabulary becomes active. Before, you learned words but forgot them. Now those words start coming into your speaking. Not all at once, but slowly, naturally. This is real learning. Now here is something very important. At this stage, you may feel a new kind of fear. Not the old fear of starting, but a new fear of making mistakes in real situations. You may think, what if I say something wrong? What if people laugh? This is normal, but listen carefully. This is the moment you must move forward, not backward, because growth happens outside your comfort zone. Let me explain this in a simple way. You have been practicing daily. You have built your skills. Now it is time to use them. Real life is your next classroom. You do not need big opportunities. Start small. Speak with yourself. Describe your day. Talk about what you see. Then slowly, try to speak with others. Even simple conversations are enough. Each small step builds confidence. Now let me tell you something very powerful. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes after action. You speak, you make mistakes, you learn, and then you become confident. This is the process. Now imagine this. Someone asks you a simple question in English. Before, you felt nervous. You avoided answering. But now you take a breath. You understand the question. You reply with simple words. It may not be perfect, but it is real. And that moment feels amazing. That moment tells you, yes, I am improving. Now let us talk about consistency again. At this stage, many learners make a mistake. They feel comfortable, they feel better, and then they reduce their practice. They think, now I am good, I can relax. But this is dangerous, because when you stop, you lose momentum. So remember this, when you see improvement, continue your habit. Do not stop. Do not slow down too much. Keep your daily practice alive. Now here is something very important for this stage. Challenge yourself slowly. Do not stay at the same level. Try slightly difficult content. Try longer conversations. Try new topics. This helps your brain grow further. But do not make it too difficult. Balance is important. Now let me give you a simple mindset. Do not aim for perfection. Aim for communication. Your goal is not to speak perfect English. Your goal is to express your ideas. If people understand you, you are successful. This mindset removes pressure. This mindset builds confidence. Now listen carefully to this line. Fluency is not about speaking without mistakes. Fluency is about speaking without fear. Say it again in your mind. Without fear. Now we are coming to a powerful moment. Imagine yourself after some time. You practice daily. You speak regularly. You listen actively. What happens? English becomes part of your life. You do not force it. You live it. You think in English sometimes. You understand naturally. You speak without overthinking. This is transformation. And it all started with one simple habit: daily practice. Now we are very close to the end of this journey, but one important thing is still left. In the next chapter, you will get a clear system, a simple plan you can follow every day without confusion, something you can start immediately. So, stay with me, because the final chapter will give you direction, and that direction can change everything for you. Chapter 6. This is the final chapter, but this is not the end. This is your starting point. Everything you learned until now becomes powerful only when you use it daily. So now I will give you something very simple: a clear system, a daily plan, something you can follow without confusion, something you can start today. Let me ask you one last question before we begin. Do you want to improve your English, or do you want to stay where you are? Your answer decides everything, because now you know what to do. The only thing left is action. So let us build your daily English routine. Step 1. Fix a time. This is very important. Do not say, "I will practice when I am free." That does not work. Fix a specific time. It can be morning. It can be evening. It can be before sleep. It does not matter. What matters is consistency. When you fix a time, your brain prepares for it. It becomes a habit. Even 10 minutes at the same time every day is powerful. Step 2. Start with listening. Listening is your foundation. Choose something simple: a short video, a short audio. Do not choose difficult content. Listen carefully. Do not worry about understanding everything. Just listen. Then listen again and again. Repetition is your strength. Step 3. Repeat what you hear. This step is very powerful. Listen to one sentence. Pause, repeat it. Try to copy the speaker. Copy the sound. Copy the rhythm. Do not worry about mistakes. Just try. This will improve your speaking naturally. Step 4. Speak something every day. Do not wait for someone to talk to you. Speak with yourself. Talk about your day. Talk about your plans. Talk about anything. Even simple sentences are enough. The goal is to use English daily. Step 5. Keep it simple. Do not make your routine complicated. Do not try to learn everything in one day. Focus on small steps. Small steps are easy to follow, and easy steps become habits. Now let us talk about something very important. What will you do on days when you feel lazy? Because those days will come. Some days you will feel tired. Some days you will feel bored. Some days you will not feel like practicing. This is normal. But here is the rule: never stop completely. If you cannot practice for 10 minutes, practice for 5 minutes. If you cannot do everything, do one thing. But do something. Because stopping breaks the habit. And once the habit breaks, it becomes difficult to start again. So remember this line: reduce effort, but never stop. Now let us talk about tracking your progress. Take a simple calendar. Every day you practice, mark it. This creates a chain, and your goal is simple: do not break the chain. When you see your progress, you feel proud, you feel motivated, and this helps you continue. Now let us talk about mindset. Do not expect perfection. Do not compare yourself with others. Do not feel bad about mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake is a step forward. Now imagine this. You follow this simple routine for 30 days. What will happen? You will feel more comfortable with English. You will understand more. You will speak more easily. You will feel confident. Not perfect, but better than before. And that is progress. Now imagine 60 days, 90 days. Your growth will be even stronger. This is the power of daily practice. Now listen carefully to this. You do not need special talent. You do not need expensive courses. You do not need perfect conditions. You only need one thing: consistency. Say it again in your mind. Consistency. This is your real power. Now let me tell you something from the heart. Many people start learning English. Very few continue. That is why very few succeed. But you can be different. You can choose to continue. You can choose to stay consistent. You can choose to grow every day. And when you do that, success is not far. Now we are at the end of this journey. But this is your beginning. A new mindset, a new habit, a new direction. So what will you do now? Will you wait or will you start? Start today. Start small. Stay consistent. And your English will change. Slowly, naturally, powerfully. And I promise you this. If you follow this path, one day you will look back and smile. Because you did not give up. Because you stayed consistent. Because you believed in yourself. And that made all the difference.